Hey everybody, this is Travis from SDI. Today I'm working on one of my favorite cars, our Polaris Xpedition, and I'm going to be installing and showing you the differences between a stock tie rod and our SDI tie rod. So you don't have to remove the wheel to do this install, but just so you guys could kind of see and get a little bit better view, I went ahead and removed this wheel. The first step in removing your old stock tie rod is going to be loosening the outer tie rod nut right here. So you're just going to go ahead and loosen this nut here. And it looks like I got lucky with it, but if this didn't come loose, sometimes just tapping it with a hammer right here, it'll loosen this tie rod and you can pop it out. Once you have the nut loose here, you can go ahead and cut the clamp that holds the inner boot in. And once you have that cut, go ahead and slide this boot forward so you can get to the inner ball, which is this right here. Once you have the inner ball exposed, you go ahead and loosen it. There will be slots right here to fit wrench, or if you don't have the right size wrench, you can actually grab with a pipe wrench like this and go ahead and break that ball free. What I like to do is just make it a little bit easier. For a later install on the boot, we're going to go ahead and we're going to loosen this nut here while it's still on the car. Here for later, go ahead and pop this out and go ahead and spin the whole assembly off the car. Once you have the OEM tie rod off the car, go ahead and measure the distance from the back of the ball end here to the center point of your rod end here and match that with the SDI one. It'll just make aligning your car a little bit easier. Next step in the install is when we loosen this nut, it's for this, to get this boot off a little bit easier on you. So what I like to do is I go ahead and remove the outer tie rod end and spin this all the way around to separate the two parts. And then that way I can slide the boot off the tie rod end. Once you have the nut and the outer tie rod, you simply just remove the boot. Once you have the boot off, we're going to grab our SDI tie rod and we're going to do the reverse process. We're going to take our inner ball off and slide the boot onto the rod. Once we have the ball end off, I slide the boot over the tie rod end on this side here, and I leave it like this for now so I can show you the next part. The next part, we're going to install the inner ball. We're going to put blue Loctite on the threads before we install it in the car. Next, we're going to take the ball and screw it into the rack. I like to do it this way because it makes it a little bit easier for you, so you're not trying to use the whole tie rod to get it in there and hit the arm and scratch up your tie rod. Go ahead and tighten the inner ball, which another nice part about ours is it's not just two slots on the end of the ball, it's actually all the way around, so it makes this part a lot easier. Once you have the inner ball tightened to the factory torque spec, we're going to take the whole assembly and we're going to screw it on to the inner ball. Next step is going to be taking the outer tie rod and attaching it to the spindle. Take it, lift it up, put it in, push down. There is a washer in here to take up the distance and space here. Once you have this tightened to factory spec, we're going to move on to the inner boot. We're going to slide it back over the rack. And then we're going to secure the groove that's right here with a zip tie. Cut off any extra on the zip tie. Once you have the boot in and secure, go ahead and complete this whole process on the other side and install the other tie rod on the other side. I went ahead and installed the tire back on because now we're going to go ahead and align the car. So to align the car, you're going to make sure that you have the inner nut on the ball end here loose, and the nut on the outer, which is right here, loose as well. The thing to note is this one on the outer is reverse thread. So righty is no longer tighty and lefty is no longer loosey. It's actually opposite thread. So make sure those are both loose. Once you've looked up the factory toe for your car, you can go ahead and set your alignment. To adjust your toe here, you're going to move your tie rod forwards and backwards, and this will bring the tire in and out. Once you have the toe where you want it, go ahead and tighten the inner nut here and the outer here to factory specifications. And that is how you install the SDI tie rod on your Polaris Xpedition. It's a pretty easy job and it's an amazing upgrade for your car.